In a high-stakes precision strike that has fundamentally altered the security landscape of the Middle East, elite units of the United States Army's 75th Ranger Regiment have successfully neutralized a critical Iranian air defense hub in the rugged terrain of northwestern Iran. The operation, which took place in the early morning hours approximately 91 kilometers southeast of Trez, targeted Iran's third S-300 air defense complex, a facility long considered a cornerstone of the Islamic Republic's Western aerial denial strategy. At exactly 4:30 in the morning, under the cover of total darkness, 88 Army Rangers initiated a multi-pronged assault that would, within less than an hour, dismantle a multi-million-dollar military installation and seize vital intelligence that may compromise the entirety of Iran's western defensive corridor. The site was not merely a collection of missile launchers, but a sophisticated command and control node, housing a reinforced bunker buried 40 meters underground. This subterranean facility served as the regional brain for 6 active S-300 batteries, effectively creating a lethal kill zone for any unauthorized aircraft entering Iranian airspace from the west. Military analysts note that for 11 weeks leading up to the raid, United States Army intelligence had maintained an unblinking eye on the plateau, using a combination of high-resolution satellite feeds and persistent signals intercepts. The intelligence picture painted a formidable challenge. The S-300 battery occupied a wide, rocky plateau situated precariously above a dry floodplain, a geography that the Iranian command believed offered a natural defense against ground incursions. The facility's layout was meticulously organized, featuring 5 launcher trucks arranged in a loose arc, each carrying 4 ready-to-fire missiles, totaling 24 interceptors poised for immediate launch. Supporting this firepower was a sophisticated radar net, consisting of 3 specialized radar vehicles that fed continuous targeting data to 4 command trucks, a system capable of tracking hostile aircraft from a distance of over 200 kilometers. The Iranian defense posture relied heavily on the assumption that the open floodplain surrounding the plateau was impassable for a significant ground force without detection. To bolster the southern approach, Iranian forces had constructed a secondary wire perimeter, yet they remained confident that the sheer exposure of the surrounding terrain would provide ample early warning. Directly beneath the rocky surface, the reinforced command bunker operated as a high-tech fortress. Its upper level was packed with server racks, backup power systems, and a dedicated satellite communication suite, while the lower level functioned as a regional control room, processing and distributing data to 6 other S-300 sites. Protecting this subterranean nerve center were 312 Iranian personnel, including 42 guards dedicated to the bunker entrance alone. These defenders were backed by a DSHK heavy machine gun, positioned in a concrete firing slot, along with 3 PKM machine gun positions sandbagged on the launcher plateau. A further 148 Iranian troops held fortified positions between the missile trucks, while 78 others conducted constant patrol routes across the open plain. Inside the bunker, 44 highly trained officers and technicians managed the complex network. To dismantle this formidable array, United States Army planners developed a 4-part operational plan involving specialized elements. Alpha Element, consisting of 26 Rangers, was tasked with the most dangerous phase: breaching the bunker, clearing the approach tunnel, and seizing the lower control room. Bravo Element, with 22 Rangers, was assigned to seize the launcher plateau, neutralize heavy weaponry, and place demolition charges on the launcher trucks. Charlie Element, comprising 20 Rangers, targeted the radar and command vehicles with the objective of extracting intelligence before total destruction. Finally, Delta Element, with 20 Rangers, took up overwatch positions on the eastern ridgeline to provide suppressive fire and block any incoming reinforcements. The mission began in the silent hours of 2:45 in the morning as 4 MH-60 Black Hawk helicopters transported the Rangers across the floodplain, flying at a dangerously low altitude of only 40 meters to evade detection. Accompanying the transport helicopters were 2 AH-64 Apache attack helicopters, hugging the eastern ridgeline for concealment. By 3:55, the Black Hawks had inserted the teams 11 kilometers from the target, and the Rangers began their grueling approach on foot through the dry riverbeds and rocky outcrops. The arsenal carried by the Rangers reflected the specialized nature of the mission, including M4A1 and MK18 carbines, while Delta Element utilized MK11 Mod 0 rifles for long-range precision. Heavy firepower was provided by Carl Gustaf M3 launchers, AT-4 rockets, and Javelin missiles, while Alpha Element carried specialized C-4 and linear charges for the bunker breach. At exactly 4:30, the silence of the Iranian night was shattered as the assault commenced. The two Apaches surged over the eastern ridge, launching AGM-114 Hellfire missiles that decimated a ZU-23-2 anti-aircraft gun crew and a critical watchtower. Within seconds, Iranian radio traffic spiked as the base attempted to mobilize. Simultaneously, Delta Element opened fire from the ridgeline, neutralizing sentries near the bunker road in a matter of seconds. The Iranian defenders, confused by the sudden aerial and long-range bombardment, initially turned their attention toward the ridge, unaware that Alpha Element was already sprinting toward the bunker entrance. By 4:32, Alpha Element reached the bunker approach, using flashbangs to silence the DSHK heavy machine gun and clearing the entrance with surgical precision. A brief but intense firefight erupted as a Ranger neutralized an Iranian guard armed with an AK-74. While Delta Element provided covering fire to suppress a PKM position on the right flank. Alpha then utilized a linear charge to blow the locking seam of the main blast door, allowing them to flood into the tunnel. Meanwhile, at 4:34, Bravo Element launched their assault on the launcher plateau from the south. 5 specialized teams moved against the launcher trucks simultaneously, engaging Iranian defenders who used equipment crates for cover. The Rangers responded with disciplined fire and grenades, utilizing a Carl Gustaf M3 to neutralize a PKM team at 35 meters. When an Iranian squad attempted to drive one of the launcher trucks away, Bravo disabled the vehicle with an AT-4 rocket to the engine block. 2 minutes later, Charlie Element reached the radar cluster on the northwest crest. Despite the Iranian crew's attempt at an emergency shutdown, the Rangers disabled the vehicles with targeted fire and small explosives, cutting power to the radar dishes and flanking a command truck where technicians attempted to resist. Charlie Element's priority remained the extraction of data, requiring them to keep the secondary radar systems operational for a few critical minutes. The struggle intensified inside the bunker at 4:38 as Alpha Element encountered a steel security gate 30 meters into the tunnel. After a brief exchange of fire through the bars, a breacher used detonation cord to drop the gate, allowing the team to clear the stairwells with grenades and move toward the lower levels. On the surface, the Iranian forces attempted a desperate counterattack at 4:40, sending 18 troops in a running line toward the launcher arc. However, the move was spotted by Delta Element on the ridge, who hammered the Iranian line with M240B machine gun fire, ending the counterassault in less than 30 seconds. This allowed Bravo's demolition teams to work undisturbed, rigging the 5 launcher trucks with C4 and thermite. By 4:42, Charlie Element had successfully pulled frequency cards and intelligence drives from the radar consoles, even as they engaged a PKM position in a nearby trench with a Carl Gustaf round. The tactical advantage was now firmly in the hands of the Rangers, who moved with practiced efficiency across the burning plateau. At 4:44, Alpha Element secured the bunker's upper-level equipment room, preventing Iranian technicians from destroying server drives. They then moved to the final obstacle, the lower control room blast door. As technicians tried to seal the door, a Ranger jammed a steel wedge into the track, and a linear charge was used to widen the gap. Alpha entered the room following the detonation of flashbangs, engaging in a 3-minute firefight behind server consoles and equipment. By 4:50, the control room was secured, and 18 Iranian officers surrendered. The Rangers immediately began the process of data exploitation, photographing screens that displayed the status of 6 active S-300 sites across western Iran, and pulling every available server drive for later analysis. Outside, Bravo Element neutralized a final DSHK position with an AT-4 rocket, completing the rigging of the missile tubes. By 4:54, Charlie Element had transitioned from intelligence gathering to destruction, arming shaped charges on the radar mounts and using a Javelin missile to incinerate a radar vehicle parked behind a rock berm. The final phase of the operation began at 4:56, when Delta Element spotted a significant Iranian reinforcement force, 52 troops equipped with RPGs and machine guns, moving up the eastern access road. One of the Apache helicopters intervened, using its 30mm cannon to devastate the advancing files and force the survivors into the rocks. With the perimeter secured, Alpha began the process of bunker denial, placing C4 on the main server racks and structural pillars. The 18 prisoners were moved up the stairwell and toward the exit as the Rangers prepared to withdraw. By 5:04, the pullout was in full effect. Alpha moved the prisoners along the dry riverbed, while Bravo and Charlie collapsed back toward the extraction point with their captured intelligence cases. Delta maintained overwatch until the very end, covering the movement as the Blackhawks returned for the extraction. Despite coming under fire from arriving reinforcements at 5:08, the Rangers successfully loaded the prisoners, the intelligence gear, and their 9 wounded comrades onto the helicopters. An Apache fired a final hellfire to block the southern switchback road, and by 5:18, the last Ranger was off the ground. The climax of the operation occurred at 5:26, once the Blackhawks were 4 kilometers clear of the plateau. The first demolition trigger was fired, resulting in a series of massive explosions that tore through the launcher trucks and cooked off the remaining missiles. Thermite charges melted the guidance systems, while the radar and command vehicles were reduced to scrap metal. Seconds later, the second trigger detonated the charges inside the bunker. The upper-level racks were vaporized, and the structural pillars of the lower level collapsed in sequence, causing the 40-meter-deep command center to implode and effectively ceasing its existence as a functional military hub. By 5:38, when Iranian reinforcements finally reached the plateau road, they were met only with the sight of rising smoke and burning wreckage. The cost to the Iranian military is staggering, with 94 personnel killed, 71 wounded, and 18 captured. The financial loss is estimated at $380 million for the S-300 equipment and an additional $140 million for the underground facility. Most importantly, the United States has secured an unprecedented treasure trove of intelligence regarding Iran's air defense network. While the Iranian command believed the geography of the plateau made a ground assault suicidal, the 88 Rangers of the 75th Regiment proved that no defense is impenetrable against a force of their caliber. The operation stands as a testament to the tactical superiority and planning of the United States military,